Ted pointed his gun at the woman in my driveway. "Don't move," he shouted. Little did this power-hungry HOA security guard know, he had just made the biggest mistake of his life. My daughter wasn't just any visitor, she was Commander Sofia Martinez of the FBI, and she was about to teach him an unforgettable lesson. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching, also like and subscribe for more stories. Moving to Sunny Pines seemed like the perfect decision. After 30 years working as a high school teacher in Chicago, I was ready for a peaceful retirement in this gated Florida community. The brochures promised security, tranquility, and a tight-knit community of like-minded retirees. What they didn't mention was Ted Barker, the self-appointed head of the Homeowners Association security team, a man with more power than sense. I'd been living in Sunny Pines for just over 6 months when my daughter Sophia announced she was coming to visit. I was thrilled. We hadn't seen each other in person for almost a year due to her demanding job. What I didn't tell my neighbors was exactly what that job entailed. My daughter wasn't just any federal employee, she was Commander Sofia Martinez, one of the highest-ranking female agents in the FBI's hostage rescue team. "Dad, I've got a week of leave and I'm desperate for some Florida sunshine," she'd said over the phone. "Plus, I need to see this fancy retirement community you keep bragging about." I spent the day before her arrival cleaning the house and preparing her favorite childhood meal, my secret recipe lasagna. I just put it in the oven when I got a text. She was running late but would be there by 10 p.m. I replied with a thumbs-up emoji, proud that I'd finally mastered the art of texting at 68 years old. As evening fell, I sat on my porch enjoying the warm breeze and waving to neighbors as they walked their dogs. Ted Barker strolled by in his usual uniform, khaki shorts, a polo shirt with security embroidered on the pocket, a shirt he'd ordered online, not an official uniform, and his ever-present walkie-talkie clipped to his belt. "Evening, Frank," Ted said, slowing down. "Expecting visitors?" I nodded. "My daughter's driving in tonight." Ted's eyebrows furrowed. "After 9 p.m.? You know the HOA rules about late visitors. They need to be pre-approved." I sighed. Ted and his rules. I filled out the form online yesterday. Sofia Martinez. She's on the list. Ted looked unconvinced but continued his patrol. I knew he took his position seriously, too seriously. A retired insurance adjuster with a newfound authority complex, Ted had been the source of numerous complaints from residents. But the HOA board, mostly his golfing buddies, always dismissed them. Around 10:15 p.m. I started to worry. Sophia was usually punctual and she hadn't texted again. I was about to call her when I heard shouting outside. Alarmed, I hurried to my front door and stepped onto my porch. The scene at the end of my driveway made my blood run cold. Ted Barker was standing in the street, pointing what looked like a real gun at a woman with her hands raised. Even from a distance, I recognized my daughter's silhouette. "Ted, what in God's name are you doing?" I shouted, rushing down the driveway. "Stay back, Frank. This woman was prowling around your house. She claims to be your daughter, but she's not on the visitor list." Sophia's voice was calm but stern. "Sir, I'm going to ask you one more time to lower your weapon. I am FBI Commander Sofia Martinez, and you are currently committing a federal offense by pointing that firearm at me." Ted laughed nervously. "Yeah, right. And I'm the director of the CIA. Let's see some ID then." "My identification is in my bag, which you instructed me not to touch," Sophia replied coolly. "I'll move my right hand very slowly to retrieve it if you give me permission." I had reached them by now, my heart pounding in my chest. "Ted, put that gun down right now. This is my daughter." Ted's eyes flickered between us, uncertainty crossing his face. "She's not on the visitor list, Frank." I checked twice. "Because her name is Sofia Martinez Johnson. She uses her married name now," I explained, my voice shaking with anger. "Now lower that gun before you do something you'll regret for the rest of your life." Ted hesitated, the weapon still pointed at my daughter. I noticed several neighbors had come out of their homes, watching the scene unfold from their porches. What happened next occurred so quickly that the onlookers would later give conflicting accounts. In one fluid motion, Sophia dropped to one knee, swept her leg out, and knocked Ted off balance. As he stumbled, she closed the distance between them, twisted his wrist with expert precision, and disarmed him in seconds. The gun, which turned out to be a very realistic-looking pellet gun, clattered to the ground. Before Ted could process what had happened, Sophia had him face down on the asphalt, her knee firmly on his back and his arms secured behind him. Assaulting a federal officer, brandishing a weapon with intent to threaten, impersonating security personnel, she listed calmly as if reading a grocery list. "Mr. Barker, You've had a very busy evening. You can't do this. Ted sputtered, his face pressed against the pavement. I'm head of security? This is my community. No, sir. This is a residential community with a homeowners association. You have no legal authority to detain, question, or threaten anyone with a weapon, regardless of whether it's a firearm or a pellet gun. By now, several neighbors had gathered closer, murmuring among themselves. Mrs. Gonzalez from 2 doors down was filming everything on her phone, while Mr. and Mrs. Patel stood wide-eyed at the edge of my lawn. Someone call the real police, Sophia instructed the crowd, maintaining her hold on Ted. Within 15 minutes, 2 patrol cars from the county sheriff's department arrived, lights flashing. The deputies took statements from everyone, including the growing crowd of neighbors in bathrobes and slippers. When Sophia presented her FBI credentials, the senior deputy whistled low. Commander Martinez? I've read about your work on the Carson hostage situation last year. It's an honor, ma'am. Ted was handcuffed and placed in the back of a patrol car, his face a mixture of humiliation and disbelief. As the deputies prepared to leave, one of them approached us. We'll be charging him with assault, making threats, and impersonating security personnel. You'll probably need to give a formal statement tomorrow, Commander? Sophia nodded. I'll stop by in the morning. As the patrol cars drove away, our neighbors converged on us. The questions came rapid fire. You're really an FBI commander? How long has Ted been carrying that gun around? Did you really take down 3 armed bank robbers last year? Sophia answered graciously but eventually looked at me with tired eyes. I got the message. Folks, it's been a long night, I announced. How about we continue this conversation at tomorrow's community coffee? I promise Sophia will answer all your questions then. Reluctantly, our neighbors dispersed, though not without several of them shaking Sophia's hand or patting her shoulder admiringly. Finally, we were alone on my driveway. So, I said, putting my arm around her shoulders. Not exactly the quiet welcome I had planned. Sophia laughed, the tension leaving her body. Honestly, Dad, I've had worse greetings. Remember Thanksgiving at Uncle Rob's when his parrot attacked me? We walked inside, where the smell of slightly overcooked lasagna filled the house. As we sat at the kitchen table with plates of food and glasses of wine, Sophia's phone buzzed continuously with notifications. What's that about? I asked. She checked her screen and groaned. Mrs. Gonzalez's video of Ted's takedown is going viral. My team is already texting me about it. I couldn't help but laugh. Well, at least Ted will finally be famous for something other than measuring grass height with a ruler. The next morning, we attended the community coffee in the clubhouse. Sophia was treated like a celebrity, graciously answering questions about her work, those she could discuss anyway, and demonstrating proper self-defense techniques to an eager group of elderly women, including Mrs. Patel, who turned out to be surprisingly agile for her 75 years. The HOA president, a retired judge named Gloria Williams, took me aside during the gathering. Frank, I owe you an apology, she said, looking genuinely remorseful. We've received complaints about Ted's behavior for months, but we didn't take them seriously enough. That changes today. By the afternoon, an emergency HOA meeting had been called, and Ted was unanimously removed from his position. The board also voted to disband the unofficial security team, and instead hire a professional security service for the entrance gates. 2 days later, as Sophia and I sat by my small backyard pool, my neighbor Bill stopped by with a cake his wife had baked. It's the least we could do, he said, setting down the chocolate creation. Your daughter has changed things around here for the better. Ted's been running this place like his personal kingdom for 3 years. After Bill left, Sophia took a bite of cake and smiled. Not bad. Though Mrs. Patel promised to teach me how to make authentic gulab jamun tomorrow. I watched my daughter, this strong, capable woman who faced dangerous situations as part of her daily job, laughing and relaxed in the sunshine. The incident with Ted had been frightening, but it had also united the community in a way I hadn't expected. You know, Sophia said thoughtfully, I've been thinking about taking a position at the Tampa field office when it opens next year. It would mean I could visit more often. My heart leaped at the possibility. I'd like that. And I think your fan club here would too. The next few days passed peacefully. Sophia taught a self-defense class for interested residents, had lunch with the sheriff, and spent evenings helping me plant a vegetable garden. When it was time for her to leave, nearly half the community gathered to say goodbye. As I hugged her by her car, I whispered, "Thank you for handling that situation with Ted the way you did. You could have had him arrested immediately, but you gave him a chance to stand down first." She smiled. That's the job, Dad. We always try to de-escalate first, even when dealing with power-hungry HOA security guards. I watched her drive away, feeling an overwhelming sense of pride. The incident had been a reminder that beneath the surface of our quiet community, there were stories, strengths, and surprises waiting to be discovered. And sometimes, it took a confrontation with an overzealous man with a pellet gun to bring those stories to light. As for Ted, the community grapevine reported he was selling his house and moving to a non-HOA neighborhood. And the pellet gun? It was confiscated and now sits in Sheriff Johnson's office. A reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and that not all power comes with a uniform and a walkie-talkie. Sometimes, it arrives in the form of a daughter you raise to stand her ground, know her worth, and protect those who need protecting, even if that someone turns out to be her retired teacher father and a community of seniors who just wanted to live in peace, without the fear of a midnight confrontation for having a visitor after 9 p.m. The video of that night has become something of a legend in Sunny Pines. Sometimes, when new residents move in, someone will pull it up on their phone during the welcome coffee. "See that woman?" they'll say proudly. "That's Frank's daughter. Best not to cause any trouble around here, we've got connections in high places." And I'll just smile, knowing that my peaceful retirement community found its peace in the most unexpected way possible.